Hello, and welcome back to my Power Racers Retrospective. My name is Jack Beck, and today we will be taking a look at set 8650, the Furious Slammer Racer. Here is our final outing of the glow-in-the-dark sets, and I'll tell you right now, there's a lot more to this set than meets the eye. But let's focus on what we see first, that being a stylish red sports car. Two of the most standout features of said car, in my opinion, are these two rare pearl-like grey bionicle shields, both of which are put to excellent use here to detail both the hood and the engine of the vehicle. The one used for the hood also makes its final appearance here. Overall, this thing just has a lot of detail everywhere, which is usually a hallmark of the gargantuan sets, at least within Power Racers. On that note, all of these flexible hoses, as well as the seat and steering wheel, are also more commonly seen on the bigger models. And speaking of flexible hoses, these two on the sides really just aren't long enough, leaving awkward gaps clearly displaying the pins and axles holding them in place. Just like the bikes, this set uses a slammer. Unlike the other glow-in-the-dark sets though, this set doesn't have the glow-in-the-dark discs over its wheels, and I think it looks much better that way. And going back to the topic of the slammer, it's again basically the same as the previous ones, except this one is longer, likely to accommodate the larger vehicle. This change also leads to a notable uptick in power, as will soon be demonstrated. Remaining notable elements are this dark bluish-grey lift arm with stud connector, which is rare, and this light bluish-grey rims, mentioned all the way back with the Red Maniac, and as it made its first appearance there, it makes its final appearance here. Oh, and it's still rare, of course. Now, let's drive this thing. Moving on, this set has an alternate model, and thankfully there's not only instructions for it, but those instructions are in the instruction booklet. So here it is, the Racing Slammer Fury. Using a good amount of the pieces available, we get this pretty cool truck that appears to have been converted into a race car, given the big spoiler at the back. This build also features a very similar engine to that of the main build, albeit more compact. One of my favorite details, if a small one, is the fact that the steering wheel isn't centered, making it more realistic. Better yet, the steering wheel assembly can relatively easily be removed and swapped to the other side, so it can be accurate regardless of where you live. Genius design, and this is an alt build. Overall, I might prefer this to the main model, cool as it is, simply because of what a breath of fresh air it is in a theme that has so far been almost exclusively traditional race cars and monster trucks. And yes, I realize that may be a weird complaint to have with a theme called Racers. Oh, and it's worth pointing out once again that the slammer is fully reused here. Let's drive this thing as well. As alluded to earlier, this set is a bit nebulous, in several ways. It doesn't really feel like it has a solid place within this wave. If we look purely at how it's built, it feels like it should gel with the larger Technic models of the wave, what with it being all Technic itself, and even having some interior details like the seat and steering wheel. But on the other hand, it's much smaller and has the glow-in-the-dark lights as well. And on the back of the instructions, it's listed alongside the 4 previous sets we've covered, but it doesn't appear in the commercial alongside them, nor does it have a combiner with any of them. Or does it? Muscle Slammer Bike, Speed Slammer Bike, Night Racer, Buzzsaw, Furious Slammer Racer. With their powers combined, they form... No, that's not a spider. This is the 4-wheel flash cycle, and thank goodness I don't have to come up with a name for this one. Using not even a fifth of the available pieces, out of 5 total sets, mind you, this thing just feels pathetic. I appreciate that there is a 5-way combiner model here, since ones that combine that many sets are rare and a very cool idea, but can it really be called that when it for instance only takes 6 pieces from one of the sets, that being the Muscle Slammer bike? Or how it takes only the motor and the glow-in-the-dark lights from the Night Racer? And heck, both of these slammers are left completely untouched as well. I do want to mention that my model and the piece count may not be perfectly accurate, since, well, this is what the instructions look like. I know for certain I'm missing something on top of the black motor, since there's something there, but what it is, I can't say. What doesn't help is that this model doesn't show any of the stickers, so stickered pieces aren't ruled out either. Although, looking at this thing, it's pretty obvious why they hid the stickers. It looks even more hodgepodge with them on. Also, thanks to there being no stickers shown, you can freely choose what discs to use for the wheels. On the slightly more intelligible render of it, the discs are shown to be black, which makes no sense given such pieces aren't included anywhere in these 5 sets. This thing is predictably very obscure, so much so that looking it up on Google won't yield any results. That's worse than Rumble Racers from last wave. So in case you're curious about this and happen to have all the 5 sets necessary to make it, I'll leave a link to the instructions in the description. The build, at least assuming I did it correctly, is bad. It's flimsy, easily cracking in two. It uses an illegal technique here which causes these fairings to bend slightly, and these Bionicle shoe engines are only connected with one pin, meaning they can shift around almost freely. The only things I really have anything positive to say about are the handlebars that can be turned, but which also flop around, and this little toe ball at the back, which is cute, I guess. Overall, this thing is pretty funny and I like that it exists. Anyway, let's drive this thing as well. And finally, that does it for this episode. Tune in again next time as we make our way further down the racetrack.